The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and FreedomSlips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, FreedomSlips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Welcome, 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 everyone. Live on this Monday. I am joined live by our intrepid international co-host from Hong Kong, Kathy Ma.
Hey, it's great to be here. Even from Hong Kong, I cannot miss this show.
No, cannot miss this show.
Tell us, what's going on in Hong Kong?
Well, there's always so much going in Hong Kong. It's such a dynamic place. The big thing right now is that we've lost a lot of tourism over here for quite a few reasons. One of them is that China has cracked down on the anti-corruption laws over in China, and their access into Hong Kong in terms of tourist visa has been severely cut. So now all the mainland Chinese tend to be going to Japan to spend their money.
So no longer Macau, they're heading to Japan.
Yep, Macau is suffering, Hong Kong tourism is suffering, although it's much easier to walk down the streets as an overall now because there's a lot less people than there used to be. And even just to access to get into shops, it's a lot easier. But all the businesses are suffering because they had a lot of money to burn. The tourism was really booming. Another thing I guess you could say about it is that there has been some, what is the correct word, some trouble over the last year or so between Hong Kong Chinese and mainland Chinese in terms of their visiting and shopping, because they tend to come en masse. So when they go to any shops, there's like 60 of them at bare minimum, lines up outside. And it makes it very difficult for the locals to shop. And they can't, get their normal stuff themselves. The prices for the local people are going up so much, especially the housing market. And this is going to start to be apparent in other countries because the leader of China has, this is apparently very new news, has made an agreement with England now that they will allow mainland Chinese to have a 2-year tourist visa. A big 2-year tourist visa, no one else gets that. But what it will mean is that there'll be a lot more mainland Chinese that are starting to visit UK, and they were going to experience the same problems that we've had over here.
An interesting round of things that are coming up. So you're 16 hours ahead of us?
Yes, it's now 3 in.the morning for me, the day after on Tuesday.
Yes, it's the day after. So, Kathy, you've spent so much time in Hong Kong. What have you felt when you've come back? Is the energies of the cities different?
Yes, it's very different. It's a lot more relaxed. I mean, it's still a hustle-bustle city, lots of people everywhere, but the energy is very different. The global recession is really hitting everyone. People are not as upbeat as they used to be. Overall, I would say as a general vibe, but people are still very friendly, wanting to do things. People in Hong Kong are very resilient, so they always bounce back from everything. Possibly this is because, we were governed by UK for so long that it makes people resilient to all things, all change.
Resilient to all things and all change. Interesting set of words. So, how has the jet lag been, and what have you done to cope with it?
Well, the jet lag's been really playing around with me. I every morning try and do the grounding meditations and focus visualization, but it's still very tough. By the time I reach mid-afternoon, I'm virtually falling asleep on my feet, and then I'll wake up at this kind of hour, perky. And it's been interesting because as I start to get over the jet lag, you find that during the day it's a little bit like you're in a haze. Not too bad, but I just have to keep stopping myself, remembering what's going on, ground myself, put up my own protection, and things go along much better.
Much better, exactly. So, Kathy, we are going to be taking calls after the second half hour, but there's some things that I want to ask you first. So, you're going to be our chief foreign correspondent. You're going to be attempting to do interviews of some various people that are from Hong Kong and mainland China. Why don't you give us a little concept of what we might hear?
Well, we will definitely be hearing from a very big feng shui master here, Master Lok. And he will be talking about, such a huge range of things. A lot of them will be feng shui, environment-based. A lot of them will be different healing techniques. He'll be talking about the eras, because for Asia we talk about great eras, and they're eras of 20 years, like the era of 7, the era of 8, year of 9, and what we can expect in those years, the type of people that will fare well in those kind of years. And then we'll be talking about remedial things that the average Joe can do to improve their environment, be it office, home, wherever. And then we'll obviously be talking about some very big concepts, basic concepts, about things that are Asian staples, such as the pillars of destiny and things like this. We will be talking to people about moxibustion, which is a very good healing modality, cupping, scraping, the list goes on.
All the things you don't hear in the United States.
Yes. So it'll be very, very interesting. And the people that I've talked to are really quite intrigued about what we're doing, the type of show we have. Because over here we don't have a show like this. So they're very interested, and some of them are a little bit daunted by the English, but I assured them that we're all going to be very flexible.
Yes.
We can talk even slower, and I can translate some of it, so, that allies any little fear they may have.
And how many languages do you speak?
Actually, I only speak 2. I speak mainly, obviously English, but I speak Cantonese, which is the main language that was spoken in Hong Kong. I speak a little bit of Mandarin, because even within the Chinese language, there are many, many different dialects. So if you can speak Cantonese or Mandarin, you pretty much can get around anywhere.
Can pretty much get around anywhere.
Mm.
So we want to thank Mandy1818 in the chat room. She says, thank you very much, Kathy.
Oh, thank you so much, Mandy. I mean, well, I'll just look around and, fate will decide for us on the interesting people that I can basically reconnect with and that have a little bit of courage to do an English show.
We shall encourage the courage to step forward.
Yeah. And, I think we really will probably not have many dialects.
No dialects.
Yes. I think Doctor Who would not allow it.
Yeah, exactly. So, Kathy, last time we did an incredible conversation about the Chinese New Year, and that hasn't been released yet. But give people an example of what's coming up for Chinese New Year. Well,
Chinese New Year is the biggest time of year in Asia. I guess I could only liken it to maybe Christmas for America or the Western world. It's a huge celebration, and Chinese, or a lot of Asians anyway, believe that every year is governed by an animal. And during that year, certain things are bound to happen, and depending on the year that you're born in, some will fare well or better than others. And if it's not such a good year for you in terms of just pure, that's the way it is kind of situation, then there's a lot of things that you can do to counter that or to assist you in achieving things that you would like to achieve in a year that may not necessarily be friendly to you. The year of the monkey is the one that's coming up, and the monkey is always a fun year. I mean, just visualize monkey, and that can kind of give you a good idea of what's going to come up. It's a year that you need to really be on your toes, a year that you really need to know your stuff, and a year that you have to be a bit more wily, because to pin the monkey down, you have to have wiles. Is that the word? Wiles?
Wiles, yes, an understanding of the world.
Yes, but the opportunities will be there. So it's a lot of question is whether or not you can channel it. And this is why, there are a lot of Chinese or Asian type masters out there that are already giving a lot of big advice, because it's a challenging year for many. But then at the same time, if you're pre-warned and you're prepared, you can really, rock the year if you want to. You don't have to be worried or inhibited by the year as long as you prepare well.
Exactly. Prepare well. So Chinese New Year follows the lunar calendar and doesn't fall on the normal Gregorian calendar or the Julian calendar New Year.
That's right. We're not in false time.
Reminder, reminder, reminder. False time, false time.
Yes. I've been explaining false time to a few people, and they're like, well, of course, Chinese know this. Of course. Lunar calendar, of course, is correct. So they jump on board with concepts like that quite easy. But it makes sense to them, because every year, even a lot of the Chinese festivals change, because they change according to the lunar calendar, not so much the Western. Like the public holidays may change a lot according to the Western calendar, but the traditions of when you really do things and when you're welcoming and greeting ancestors from the past, when you go and visit the graves to do your respects, things like this go a lot more according to the lunar calendar.
The lunar calendar. So that is something we've talked about many, many times before, how that gives you a natural expression instead of the fraud time expression. So one of the big celebrations for that is the visiting of the ancestors and the honoring of the elders.
Yes. The first day, you, as a family, you will always visit the eldest relative. So if your grandfather is still around, great-grandfather, or if not them, then the eldest brother goes down the line. You will go to their house and you will greet them, and, there will be special food that is prepared that you can snack on, because you don't necessarily go there for lunch. You go all day. So they have food for you there all the time. That's all good for you for the new year. And, of course, there's all sorts of soup. And during that time, you will be exchanging what we call Lai Si Feng. And it's a red packet, lucky red packet. And inside is money. So the way it goes is that the older relatives give it to the younger ones. And then the married people give it to the unmarried. The point of the lucky money is so that whoever receives it have some money, and that they can do shopping money and buy some new clothes, whatever it is for New Year. And in terms of the older kids, helps them with saving. The energy is very strong for that. And it's how much you put in the packet really depends on your socio-economic bracket. It's not so much about the money as it is giving them the luck.
Giving them the luck. That's the key.
Yes.
Giving them the luck.
Yes. And of course, there are standard sayings that you would say, you know, like everyone would say, 恭喜发财, which means Happy New Year. And then you would always say something like 身体健康, which means I hope you have good health. And then they say other things like 心想事成, which is like I hope you get all your heart's desires. There's a lot of standard things, but it's always about health, happiness, fortune, of course, as in money, prosperity. Yes. And it's also a time where you talk about your elders that have passed on. Whoever is the oldest in the family keeps the photos of those who are deceased. So you get to see them. I guess in a sense you could say you're visiting them, and you will light a joss stick, I suppose you call it incense stick, like a sandalwood, for them. And you in your head you can talk to them. Hi, Granddad. How are you? I hope you're happy in heaven, or whatever it is. It's just a connection. And in these times, people tend to, talk about the stories, things that you didn't know. Oh, did you remember when they did blah, 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 and it's a great time for the young to learn about the older, and also to talk about people that have passed, because if you can't do it with your family, when can you talk about these things? And you tend to learn a lot of things about them that you never knew, or they would never have told you. So it's a very good time. And then on the second day, you visit friends and family, like much more extended family that perhaps couldn't get to that first day, that might be younger, but for some reason not convenient for them to leave the house. And generally on the second day also there will be fireworks all around Hong Kong. And the fireworks are, of course, beautiful and a chance for everyone to get together. In the old days, they said that fireworks were to ward off the old year and scare off any negative and to welcome the new. And, often the fireworks would go well into the night. Well, I mean, it's not the case anymore. And during this time, the older people would play mahjong, which is like a tiled game, like a card game, all night. Mm-hmm. And they would say that's traditional. I think it's, personally, I look at it and think, you know what, you've got the family all together. It doesn't happen very often. They're just going to take this chance just to have fun and play cards all night. But also the noise of when they, shuffle the tiles is very, very loud. And, the really old people would say, oh, that's part of scaring away last year's energies. I'm not sure I believe that part of it, but, they do say that.
So that's really, 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 really such fun to see the ancestors playing mahjong and all the elders and everything with the red dollars. Such a different culture from ours today. And I so wish that we could begin to take on some of these old concepts and reapply them here in a new way, so that people can see something else to do other than watching football on Christmas or going through those standard things that really are hollow and never really repay each other, those deep connections.
I mean, one of the things that I find that you get out of it is that it's that family feel. Like, where you belong. Whether you like them or not is irrelevant, but you know where you belong. You have history. You have that family connection. You find out things about each other, like maybe someone's not been well and hasn't wanted to say. You find out who's doing well at school. And then if people aren't doing well, everyone's putting their heads together to see if they can help them, or introduce them to someone. It's a time where you really realize where you come from, whether it's blood family or not. And you see what you can do for each other. And, of course, there are other times during the year where you get together as a family to do some other ancestral things. But, even Australia, I don't see that. And it's a shame, because it's such a big part of the bonding and the soul connection that I think if you have never had it, you probably don't miss it. But once you experience it, it's just so great that you couldn't imagine not having it.
Yeah, it's just so ingrained into all different parts of you.
Yeah, so much so. And just the idea that there is more to get together than only just eating a giant meal and then off. You know, maybe a bit of telly and then off, as opposed to, you know, we have 4 days where we do stuff. You know, even here, after Christmas, we have Boxing Day, which is a public holiday, which I found when I went to America was really strange that a lot of people had never heard of Boxing Day, let alone it being a public holiday. And for me, that was a big shame because everyone's traveled so far to see their family, especially in the States. You can drive, you know, for 24 hours to get to see people. You sort of don't want to leave that night or the next day. You need a few days because, you know, when else can you do it?
Exactly. When else can you do it? So we want to remind everyone that Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com is a listener-supported station, and they are doing a very, very special thing right now where they are donating money. The station is aiming to donate to selected charities on the festive season. So if their goal is if they reach $2,450 by Sunday, December the 20th, 2015, the surplus will be evenly distributed to two very special charities. 50% will be donated for Toys for Tots, and the remainder will go into meals for vets. If the monthly goal has not been achieved by the 20th, December 20th of 2015, Thursday, September 31st is the new deadline, and the surplus will be donated to the station's battered women's shelters. So this is the time that you can help us achieve this non-corporate goal of people coming together with a non-corporate concept to do something good this holiday season. Any listener donating $25 during the shows will receive a small pocket knife as a gift. Please make sure that if you are donating money and you want your gift, that you put in your postal address and details, and also remember that this is only for inside the United States. It's very hard to ship outside the United States. Right now on our show, we are 116 different countries are regularly listening to us. We know this from all our analytics. So please, everyone, if you want to donate to this, please, thank you very much.
What a great cause, Sheltered for Battered Women. That's a really
and the Meals
good
for
one.
Vets. You know, that's taking it to a whole new level. And something else I want to announce here is I will be doing a webinar with Peter Moon, Douglas Dietrich, and Laura Lee Solomon. You can go to the galacticnewsnetwork.com. That's all one, galacticnewsnetwork.com. And you can see the opt-in page and everything we're going to go about. You're going to get a bunch of free gifts, a bunch of free tools and information. You're going to hear Douglas and Peter Moon go very, very in-depth into the concepts of time travel, as well as myself and Laura Lee Solomon that are going to be giving everyone tools and techniques of how to deal with this information, how to make it sacred, how to understand it so it doesn't cause fear. So if you are interested in the time travel and the secrets of it, please go to galacticnewsnetwork.com and sign up for the opt-in page, and you'll get an email for when the show is going to begin.
That also sounds very exciting.
Well, we've got these huge amounts of requests for people that wanted time travel information, and I said, you know, who are the best people out there right now? And Peter Moon and Douglas Dietrich, who's also on this radio station, were the perfect fits for that. All right, that is our break, and when we come back, we will be taking calls, everyone. And welcome back, everyone. It has been really special of a show. We are going to be taking call-ins here just a second. So I want to remind everyone, if you'd like to get a private session from me or Kathy, you can call Tanach at the office. The area code is 1 for the United States, 360-894-0692. So we are going to be joined by Santo Cavallero's friend. Santo, are you there? Your friend, are you there?
And welcome back,
You got to turn off your radio.
Special of the show. We are going to be taking callers here in just a second. So I want to remind everyone.
Got to turn off your radio. All right, turn off your radio.
Send him a mental message.
Yes.
We are sending it to you.
So each and every week, everyone, we must remind you to turn off your radio. We are on a delay. If you are calling on Skype, you have to make sure your Skype is functioning beforehand, that everything can work. If you are on a home phone or a cell phone, if you are in wind or anything like that, and you are constantly in the background mumbling or talking or having another conversation on the side, we cannot keep you on the line. As you can see how difficult it is to talk over somebody that is echoing. All right, so he can't hear anything right now, so we're going to have to move on to the next caller until you can figure out what's going on with your Skype there, but we will put you on the queue till we can... All right, we do hear someone there. Hello. And now you're gone. For 1 second, we heard you talk. So you were fixing something there.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Your name and where you're calling from. Ah, and they're gone again.
It's just going to be one of those days.
Yeah.
Oh, is someone?
Yeah, you're going to have to check your system. All right. So the next caller, 646, are you there? Your name and where you're calling from? Hi, your name and where you're calling from?
Hello?
Hello, we are here. We can hear
Hello?
you. Yep. Hello, can you hear us? 646, your name and where you're calling from?
Can we unplug all these speakers?
It is unplugged.
Hello?
It's unplugged.
So we should be just using this speaker. Yeah.
So now we are getting extra phone names coming in there. So 830, are you there? Can you hear us? You have to turn off your radios. You cannot hear both at the same time. Please, everyone, turn off your radios. You are calling an automated line that sends you through to us, so you are on a delay. 830, are you there? 830. Name? All right. We are going to 201, or your name and where you're calling from? Now, everyone has their radios on. So, you all have to have your radios off. So, that's now 9 callers in a row that have all had their radios on. I'm not talking down to you, but at some point, you have to realize. 830, are you there? Wow. 808, are you there? Nope. 808, your name and where you're calling from? Is anyone there?
Hello?
All right. 201, your name and where you're calling from?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Hello?
All right, Steve, just hang up on everyone and clear the calls out. Something's going on with the system there. Okay. Add one call in at a time. Please don't add any more into that. So something's going on with the system. System is crashing right now, and we cannot continue with that. 830, are you there? Is your radio off? 830.
I'm sorry. If you can hear me, I can't hear anything.
So we can hear you.
Oh, we can hear you.
They can't hear us. So there's something going on with the system, Steve. If they can't hear us, something's going on with the system. All right. 830, are you there?
Yeah, this is 830.
So we can hear you now. Yay! Your name and where you're calling from.
This is Ryan. I'm calling from Somerset, Texas. I spoke with you like the second week in October.
Oh, very, very good. So what kind of questions do you want to start with today?
Well, I was calling in because I've actually made a decision. I want to actually write the handbook for the human handbook that the user manual you didn't get when you were born. So I'm going to be transcribing your work, and I just wanted to let you know, and then I'll probably send something to you. I was wondering if there's some sort of email or something I can get a hold of you to send you my work, or maybe talk to you in the future. Because I'm really wanting to write this.
What you can do is contact Tanach at the office. The phone number is 360-894-0692, and that will be for all questions relating to me, interviews, people that want to do books and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
So do you have any actual questions about the human handbook you never got at birth? I don't talk about that too much anymore. It's one of those things I talked, and then we're waiting for people like you to pick it up and go, what do people need to know?
Well, but right now I'm just now starting on it, so I will have a bunch of questions, I'm sure. But there's a load of information that I just got to get written down and transcribed so I can all compile it. If I do have a question, I was wondering of my origins, my galactic origins. I was wondering where I was from. So I've always wondered.
Just one second here. Just 1 second. We're having some technical difficulties. Apparently the radio station's not able to hear us right now. So, Steve, if you could check if the rest of the audience can hear to make sure what's going on there. We might have gotten such a large call volume and crashed part of the broadcast station here. So you want to know galactic history. All right. So what year were you born?
I was born in 1989.
Okay, just 1 second. Let me tune into you. You're following the Blu-ray expression. That means you have a very Arcturian influence into the type of spiritual contracts that you've created. Your first immigration here to Earth was about 17,203,000 years ago. During that process, you entered direct into the divinity path. So you're a direct incarnation divinity path Arcturian. So that means you are classic resistance-free Earth. You come in with built-in skills inside your DNA memories of how to resist the system, how to fight the system in all of its incarnation shapes and formats that it may take up. You are extremely capable of predicting what's going to be happening in your local environment, though every now and then you lose some form of trust with your local environment because it tends to get very dirty, not by your cause, but by the cause of others who are unaware of their dirty type energies. As you progressed into your human existence, you took on a much more stronger divinity path concept where you took on, let's just say, a god format where local worshippers believed you to be a god, which was very common during the divinity path. There were tens of thousands of high-energy beings all on the surface of the world giving various kinds of teachings to soul families. You did this for about 2.5 million years until the divinity wars reached a peak and there was an elimination of shape-shifting from our world at that expression. So no surface being built inside their DNA would have shape shifting. This was extremely daunting of a task for you to be able to still teach and be a part of the world without shape shifting as a concept. You spent another 3.5 million years adjusting your life frequency until finally you figured out how to become, let's just say, a teacher in between ascended master, but not exactly ascended master, still physically here on the world. You learned about multidimensional living and various plant and animal medicines that gave you alternative points of view. As you grew stronger and stronger into the latter, you had a very indigenous expression spread throughout the world, major incarnations in Japan, the remnants of the country of Mu. So you were very much involved into that expression and concept. Outside of this expression of Earth, as I said before, you were classic Arcturian, been there a really long time, trained a really long time for this process. But before you came to Earth, you spent many years in training and service under other Arcturian masters, learning the art of psychic defense and denying the battle to any other type of invading type spiritual or psychic technology, whether it's physical or human or biological technology. So you learned a form of psychic aikido that could keep you very protected and this was one of your main reasons to come here, was to teach this expression.
I very much appreciate you telling me all this. And also, last time when I called, your no-time field is so easily felt. Like, as soon as I got connected to the radio station, I just felt I was in no time. I felt your field that you manifest.
Well, I had taken an opportunity to do a very intense ceremony before the radio shows, and it's something I've been regularly doing, where I purposely create the no-time field in a sacred fire that's going right now behind me. All the wood's been prayed over, and I've done hours of work ahead of time so that these future moments when I do radio shows, that there's a clear intention, a clear field, and a clear understanding of the sacredness of what I'm trying to do by presenting this skill to everyone.
And it seems like you pretty much have to do that, because this will be archived and so many souls will hear it.
Yep.
And it's going to ring through no time.
Exactly, ring through no time.
Pretty amazing. I've been using making my own no time field and just trying to do what you do. But yeah, that's the stuff I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
I can let you take the next caller.
Okay, so Steve, we're going to move on to the next caller. Thank you very much, and please give Tanach a call, and I'd love to have a conversation with you.
Okay, great. Love y'all. Thank you.
Yep. Let's try Santo. Let's see if we are going to be able to get Santo with his friend.
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing? Your name and where you're calling from?
Hi, Andrew. It's Jackie. I'm calling from Toowoomba in Australia.
Toowoomba, Australia. Welcome to the show. What kind of questions do you want to start with?
Thanks, Andrew. I've been listening to your shows for about 3 years, and my partner Santo's spoken with you just a couple of weeks ago. I guess I'd really love to hear an update of where you're seeing things are at the moment, whether that be just like a stream read from the earth or here in southeast Queensland. That'd be great. Thank you.
So you kind of want to know the energy of the world and what's going on in the flows right now?
That would be awesome. Thanks.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from a perspective of viewing the planet from halfway between the moon. So I want everyone to get a vision. You're looking at the Earth. It's spinning really, really slow. So the first thing I do on the very edges of this circle that is being observed through time and space is there is a very pink and brown glow going around the edges. So that means there's a tail end of a magnetic storm that has been bringing new immigration life here to Earth. Brand new souls who have never lived on Earth, who have never been in the Galactic Ascension machine, who have never even been Arcturian, Atlantean, Pleiadian, or any of the other expressions whatsoever. They have a specific spiritual contract from Earth itself to come in here as an immigration to literally clear the field. This is not an extinction level event, which has happened in other Earth's expressions before. This is literally a brand new outbreeding in all ways, shapes, and form the current life force that's in control here. So fields of plants and animals are having brand new souls coming into them that can make contracts that can bust the system. Whole new ancient groves of trees are coming to existence right now as the ancient tree master groves are beginning to choose their personal ascension moments, and they are passing the torch of eldership on. As I focus more and more on Earth, I come closer to her expression, and I get to the outer edges of her atmosphere, and there are thousands of objects that are moving in the quantum field in time and no time. We see several thousand different frequencies of external time trying to make what we call penetration testing on our surface time. This is very common, so nothing new there. As we get into a more inner expression, we get to the upper stratosphere cloud layer of Earth, and we are beginning to see large volumes of consciousness inside the astral realms, because this is where the astral realms lives, in the highest stratosphere clouds. I see dozens and dozens of portals that are beginning to form so that astral cities can now become light variant cities. So they will begin to manifest as almost images in the upper sky, but only be able to see with advanced telescopes or heavy-duty binoculars on a clear blue sky. As they go closer to the surface Earth, about midway through, we get the surface consciousness of Earth that's being collected into the collective consciousness, which is our weather patterns, which is all of our future selves already in communion and union with unity, trying to rain down and be a part of the weather pattern that is chaos on the surface. So we see chaos trying to interact with order and unity trying to express through chaos and order at the same time. We see large volumes of souls that are leaving this expression right now, going direct to their astral worlds. Many of them from the European expression, because naturally we have a very serious issue going on throughout the Mediterranean, where many souls who were spiritually contracted to be a part of this new expression are simply saying, I'm not going to be a part of war. I'm choosing death first, going back to the astral world. And if I have another place to come back in, then so be it. We see the systems, sacred geometry powers constantly losing energy throughout the Mediterranean area. Large volumes of other sacred geometry energy trying to be transferred from other areas such as Sumatra, Australia, Southwest United States, any of the major military bases throughout the Pacific Ocean, which are all sacred geometry systems. They are being drained and being sent direct to the Middle East. So anybody that's in the military service at this point in time, there would be a very good opportunity for you to save some of your urine in a cup or something like that. When you find a sacred geometry system, throw your urine on it and do contract revocations, because it is trying to drain you at this point, trying to squeeze blood out of a stone. As I go more surface to the earth and I'm beginning to interact with the people in whole, the 7,300,000,000 human beings plus the 47 other billion beings that live out there on the surface of the earth, the world, the whales, the bees, the dogs, the cats, all those other things that are interacting in this world, we see a new train of unity coming from the lion prides, anything that's in the feline, cat, dog, fox community. Huge volumes of souls are being reborn into pups, and those pups are starting to know their past lives. So we have an amazing group of beings that are coming in there. On the human side, we see a tremendous change in the breeding order, where it's no longer indigo and silver children and rainbows. We are now in a brand new expression that doesn't even have a name. We'll simply call it extra universal births are going on now, breaking of contracts. As I go just below the surface of Earth, I'm beginning to interact with the subsurface hollow earth expression people, the people living between spaces of spaces that don't necessarily have physical bodies. They are beginning to go through their ancestral change as their ancestors are now leaving for the new universe that's being created. It is the 18th universe in our expression. It has not been fully created, but a space between universes has been created in a no-time bubble, in a void space. So those beings that want to go and be a part of the brand new free-willed universe will be able to do that and will no longer leave their stain of pollution here on this expression. As I go deeper into the hollow earth core to those beings that are really attached to Earth in its ancestral process, I see brand new beings that are willing to come out of extinction and challenge the surface world of Earth once again with shape-shifting DNA. So they're beginning to plan their contracts so that once again shape-shifting could be a natural part of our culture and community. As I connect deeper and deeper to the Earth core, I see the most gentlest form of Earth energy coming forward, trying to deeply connect to those beings who are ceremonial and expression, so that once again a form of peace can come over this world. That's what I see.
Wow. I'm picturing the Earth and the state that she's in at the moment, and I'm kind of you always end up, I'm staring out at the sky at the moment, and it's a clear morning. We have a lot of chem spraying going on fairly regularly here, and you try and tune into what the Earth's doing about it. And as a being, you sort of come back to yourself as an individual. What am I here for? What's my soul here on the planet for at this time?
You're here to spread joy and happiness, knowledge and wisdom, light and truth. Those are your main contracts for being here. How you choose to present that is your personal free will and presentation concept. You are meant to be a healer through and through. You are meant to be connected to a person that can psychically and physically protect and love you while you do journeying into other realms to help assist people recover soul shards that they're unable to journey for. You are one of those people that will teach other people how to begin soul journeying.
Interesting, Andrew. Any pointers as to how I would expand on that? And about what about my soul as well?
Yes,
Please.
I will come to that. I want to bring Kathy in here right now because I think there's something very big that a feminine expression, especially when coming with business, is coming for you. You have a lot of money coming in your field, and it needs the feminine chi expression.
I agree that certainly spreading joy is a very important part of what you, shall we say, are here to do or what your passion is. To me, it looks like you've got some sense of what it is that you want to embark upon, but you haven't really fine-tuned all your concepts or what you're doing at the moment. Do you actually have a written down plan already?
Not written down. It's more of a heartfelt sort of thing, connecting with the earth and as a being, just tuning into to what I can do and what I can sort of contribute as a healer, I suppose. It's more of an ongoing tuning into myself, I would put it that way.
Okay. Well, what I would suggest to you is start writing this stuff down, because having it all in your head is one thing, but once you put it down on paper and you can see it, it's much easier to get clarity as to where you want to go with it. Because for me, I look at what's going on with you now, and you've got it's like you've got the seeds and they're already starting to be planted. But you really need to think about what time you're going to plant it, where should the sun be, how much water, it's all the small details that you need to home in on. Because I think one of the things you haven't quite realized yet is that you can have a lot more structure within what it is that you want. You can formalize it in a much better way, and by better I mean in a way that you can feel like you can effect change with individuals, not just on the more global energetic way. And the side benefit of doing that is, of course, the personal fulfillment of that, but also the being able to help other people and in some ways start to monetize what it is that you are starting to enjoy. It's a very difficult process to jump from helping the world and the earth to homing it in to do something on a more individual basis, helping people in a more individual way, and then to also think about monetizing it. But at the same time, you think about it deep down in your soul, you've always known that you are going to help others. I don't necessarily think it's as a teacher concept, but more as a guide to what needs to be done. You're very into empowering people, showing them the way, and then giving them that gentle push and letting them go, a bit like planting a seed, and then letting them flourish themselves. Does that make sense for you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's synchronicity, because just in the last few weeks and months I've been learning a little bit about and having spoken to a few holographic kinetics practitioners, and definitely that combined with the understandings and learnings that have come from Andrew and tuning into things as well, it seems like a good path as far as helping others and healing.
Mm. Yes, and I think also it's time. It's like you have enough knowledge. I mean, you can still, of course, continue with everything on the global sense that you're doing, but, we're only on this earth in a limited amount of time. So should you move forward and go down this path where you are going to help others, it is time to start and to get more organized with it. But it's very difficult to channel your mind or corral your mind to start writing things down and have structure to it, because you're a big thinker. It takes discipline, and I'd say half of us here still haven't mastered that discipline yet. When I say it, it sounds easy, but it's not easy. But if you do a little bit every day, it helps you focus your thoughts. And really, I guess one of the things I want for you is to start doing it more for the clarity, so you can see which ways you are going that are going to produce something that you can do in the near future, as opposed to more the big picture stuff.
Yeah, makes sense. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. But certainly I agree with Andrew that should you embark on this path, and preferably sooner rather than later. There is a lot of money around you. How far you want to go with it is really going to be up to you.
Yeah, thanks. Money's not really a desired outcome. It's more about, I guess, combining lifestyle, just leading, not simple is not the right word, but just living life and trying to fulfill the reason for being here, I guess.
I understand that. How can I put this? Whether the money is the main motivator or not, when you do start to accumulate some money, what you choose to do with that money. Okay.
That's our break music. So hold on there. We'll come back after the break and continue with this caller and take on the next caller. Hold on, everyone.
Thank you.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Welcome back, everyone, to the top of our second hour. We're going to be continuing taking calls here. So I believe we've been able to fix what's going on in the background with the phone lines. Our volume calls have been very high. So, Stephen, you get a chance. Bring in the next caller.
Hello.
646, your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, this is Carol Tavares.
Hi, Carol. How are you doing today? Where are you calling from?
Calling from New York.
New York. So what kind of questions do you want to ask today?
Well, I was calling because I just wanted to get kind of an overall reading on myself because I feel like there's so much going on at the moment.
Okay. What year were you born?
I was born in 1972.
1972. Let me just tune into you here real quick. There's a tremendous amount of things going on with your menstrual cycle right now. What's been going on with that?
Not quite sure.
Well, it's up and it's down. Your adrenal glands are in superactivity in conjunction with your menstrual cycle. It's as if you're trying to put 2 or 3 or 4 eggs down the tube at once. Have you been having pregnancy dreams?
Yes, a lot of them.
Since when did this start?
Probably for the past 2 years or so.
All right. There's some tremendous amount of energy trying to, let's just say, influence you into having children.
Okay.
Now, I go back to the beginning of your life to discover where this is coming from. And this is coming from your father's spiritual guides for passing on the DNA lineage. There is a belief that the DNA lineage will not continue with the existing DNA source that's there. And you happen to be the last rung in a ladder of potentials does this DNA lineage end or does it continue with you and your offspring?
Okay, that kind of makes sense. In some way.
Okay. Well, the irony here is this is not a choice of a contract you have to make. You don't have to continue this DNA lineage. But what you do have to say is, you cannot control my dreams like that. If it is meant to happen, it will happen out of true, free-willed love. And you need to start giving boundaries and directions to these entities that are trying to enforce a menstrual change like this.
Okay, what's something that I can do to sort of balance it out?
All right. Just 1 second here. I got to tune in. This is becoming sacred. This is becoming ceremonial. This is becoming an empowered person that's not allowing the chaos and confusion to take over. There's a lot of male energy that's coming in your life very passively that's trying to alter your directions. And as a woman, you've been allowing some of this energy to come in that isn't of your true natural free will. It is very, very important for you to understand that if you are going to stand your ground, quite literally in those words, you are the one that has to do it. There has been this concept that there's anchor that's holding you in place, and you're just flowing around in the various energies that are coming around. You need to tighten that anchor and be solid in one place, one frequency of unity time, so that a deeper understanding of what's going on in your life can be understood by physically you. You need to take active understandings of what's going on around you in the seen, the unseen world. If you haven't begun journaling, you need to take on journaling. And for everyone out there, if you are not journaling your journey, you are faking it. And that may be harsh words for some people out there, but you must understand, you must record your event. You must repeat what you have done so that it is in your common signature frequency of time, fraud time now, so that if anything is trying to be altered to you in the future or the past, you have an awareness that something has changed. And in you, many, many, many things have changed in your unawareness. Certain emotional types of your early childhood have been changed by very subtle manipulations on the broader frequency spectrums of time here. And you are one of those people that's extremely sensitive to the manipulation of time that's around you. You don't even have a full understanding of it, but in my expression here, you're one of those unique flowers that one little cold spell means you could die off, quite literally. You have to see yourself as that delicate flower that needs that bubble of reality and protection around her generated by herself. You need to get off the nipple of other people who are enabling you to do nothing so that you can start doing your own work.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I just wanted to also ask about, I mean, this totally makes sense in comparison to what is also happening with my money flow. So that was also another question I had. I seem to be attracted to so many different things. I'm an artist, but lately I've been sort of opening myself up to different forms of art, and they just all, I'm super passionate about them, but they don't seem to be producing much abundance.
Okay. I want to bring Kathy in here for the specifics of the money flow. Kathy?
Okay.
Cal, can I ask you this question? Is what attracted you to, let's call it, change and expand your way of painting?
What attracted me to changing it?
Yes.
Well, it was more of a curiosity of wanting to try out different mediums, and what I was doing. I'm actually a photographer, and I'm a photographer. I had been a photographer for a really long time, so what I was doing with that, the business has changed so much, and I found that I wasn't getting as much jobs as it used to, and it just sort of this feeling of always being in survival about it just made me think, well, maybe this is not what I'm supposed to be doing.
So does that mean that you were doing photography before, and currently, and then you've tried some new techniques, which is on the photography side or painting side?
I'm sorry, what was the first thing you said?
So do you mean that photography is your main artwork, what you do, and then now you've added painting, or do you just mean that the type of photography you're doing, you're changing the look and feel of the type of photos you're taking?
Well, the whole industry of photography has changed so much, of it going from shooting film into now everything's very digital, and I'm more of I'm a portrait photographer. I use large format cameras, and now everything's very digital. It's very fast. It's a different type of work. So, but at the same time, I had been doing photo collage. It's the artwork that I do in conjunction with photography. But then I started opening myself up to weaving, to making things with my hands, to textiles and things like that. So that's, I figured I was thinking if I'm attracted to these things, well, maybe that is something that I should explore.
Okay, I understand.
So I
I'm
just
sorry,
feel
I
a
was
little
just
bit all
confused.
over the place right now.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm not surprised with your energy at the moment that you would feel like that. I asked you the details because I just wanted to make sure I understood what you were talking about. For
Okay.
me, let me put it like this. I would say if it's not broke, don't fix it. I don't really think that the new artwork types that you're doing are going to bring about the type of change or monetary change that you're hoping for. I think really you should stick to what you know. In your case, that will be the photography skill. But I do think that you really can consider broadening that aspect. I don't know myself a lot about photography, but the sort of things I'm seeing, the energies I'm seeing with you, is a lot more outdoors kind of stuff. And in my sense, that is a lot more arty than what you're probably doing with the portraits. Not to say that you can't do portraits outside and more arty, but I think you really need to look within yourself to find that artist side of you, which you've been discovering and reconnecting with, and bring it into what you do best, which is your photography. So why don't you have a think about what kind of things you could do outside the box with what you do? So whether it's taking artsy kind of photos outdoors, in the sky, superimposing things, whatever it is for you, but to add that arty side to it, because to you that would seem extreme. You would think, oh, there's no way. I mean, people do that kind of stuff all the time. But you have an incredible eye for detail and an incredible eye for light and shadows. So use the skill that you have and turn it to what you would call the artsy-fartsy side of things. Because once you start taking it and showing it to people, they'll be like, whoa, you blow me away. I mean, I was standing there looking at this and I didn't see that. Because you can capture incredible angles and lighting, which you don't realize is actually things that people, I don't want to use the word adore, but it resonates with them, because not everyone has the ability to capture absolute movement or refracted light or an angle of shadows. And this is where you will find you excel, and you can monetize it quite easily. And in a very simple way, you don't have to try very hard to market it. You just have to put it in a few places and it'll get snapped up. Why don't you consider giving yourself a little project? Do this on the side for, let's say, 2 months. Show your work to people and let their reaction be the judge of it, because you will be blown away by the fact that people love it.
Very interesting. Yeah, it's definitely something that it seems to be a little bit out there for me. But yeah, that's really great advice.
You would consider it artsy-fartsy, but the truth is you really need to go beyond yourself. Think of it more like this. If I could do something really bizarre and no one was watching, what is it that I would do? And when you find out what that is, just close your eyes, imagine no one's around you, and go and do it. Whatever it is. I mean, if it's, getting down on your belly on the road and taking a picture of the gutter, that's going to work. Okay, you don't have to do that exactly.
No, I understand just sort of looking at things from a different perspective. Just trying new things. Yeah.
But when you see the work that you do, you'll understand what I mean about the shadows, the different angle, and the light refraction, because that's what you have the ability to catch. And that's not an easy skill to have. Yet for you, it just comes very easily. So that's something that you really need to bring on board. I know that you're thinking, I have to go more, old school and add, bows to my belt and branch out like the younger people. But for you, this is not the case. You've done a lot of stuff. You just haven't realized what you know.
That makes total sense. Yeah.
And we want to see the pictures when you've done some.
Yes, we do.
We definitely do.
So here's another thing for you. Because you are constantly using your photography equipment, you must take extra time to sage out your photography equipment, your computer, etc. Because so much of your intelligence, mental intelligence, emotional intelligence, and spiritual intelligence is involved in each one of those snaps of pictures, whether you're doing portraits for work or private pictures for whatever.
Okay.
So here's another thing that I'd like for you to do as a little simple project for yourself. Have you ever saged out your whole house to change the frequency?
I do. Yeah, I do quite frequently. Yeah.
Okay, so what I want you to do is to start with all the doors and windows closed. And I want you to get 3 or 4 big sage wands and stick them in the center, roughly the center or extensions of the house, so your house will get super, super smoky over a period of 20 or 30 minutes. And what I want you to do is to be outside your door, the front door, with your camera on a tripod at the right angle, so you, when it's all said and done, and you're going to open that one door, the cloud of smoke that's going to come out is going to be in a variety of colors. If it is coming out milky yellow or white, it means something, that some massive form of energy is being transferred and transformed. You being outside of your door with that spiritual significance of taking a snapshot of its reality, so you can empathically look at each picture just like you would if it was a portrait, to tell if it's just right, just wrong. This will give you a deeper understanding of the energy that's coming out of your house.
Okay.
So the next part is you're going to sage one individual room long after you've saged the whole house. So if you want to see what's coming out of an individual room, you get it super smoky and you have your camera outside that window right after you open, and you start snapshotting pictures to see the individual colors that are coming out of that window and smoke.
And you say that there will be specific
You will
colors?
get orbs. You will catch colors that are in the smoke that are purples and greens. You will see the transformation action.
Wow, interesting.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Sounds great.
Oh, that's amazing. You have me thinking about this, the thing that you first said about my adrenal glands. That just has me a little worried. So, like, can you expand on that a little bit more?
I think the most important thing for you to do is to slow down and stop. Do not obsess. There's some form of obsessing program that keeps taking over and is sabotaging you. It's just taking your energy from taking projects further and further. So this is where you have to create an out loud contract revocation that specifically targets the adrenal glands and any programs that are about it. You are breaking contracts, vows, and agreements. You are saving your energy for these special projects. It cannot bleed off energy when you are unaware of it. And that any obsession programs, you do not have control now. I am a sovereign individual being who's summoning my eternal soul essence in the here and now, so that I can be fully artistic, fully empowered, fully here, and ready to do what I am called for. That's the first thing. The second thing, you need to look into some form of adrenal gland therapy, Dr. Lugal's iodine therapy, and there's plenty of other techniques out there that you can learn. Become educated about adrenal gland overuse, and you'll discover that there are some subtle concepts that are panic attacks that you don't even realize are panic attacks. Which causing your adrenal glands to go over. Sometimes you've got one program in your personality that when you really don't want to work during the day and you end up having to be social with people because you're taking their picture and you have to have a fake smile on your face, you are in adrenal gland that whole time. And that's just a really bad habit.
Okay.
All right, darling, we're going to move on to the next caller. It has been really special.
Thank you so much for all this insight.
You're welcome.
It's been really interesting.
right, Kathy,
Thank
you had a
you.
shout out you want to do?
Yes, I've heard that Iran is listening to our show. He's a very, very old friend of ours from in Hong Kong years and years ago. Excellent rider, absolute magic maker with horses. So I wanted to say hi, welcome to the show.
Hello?
And the next caller, are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear your name and where you're calling from.
Josh, I'm from New Jersey. I'm in Miami
Josh
right now,
from New
though.
Jersey.
Yeah.
So how you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm excited to finally make it through. I think I tried calling like maybe 50 times.
Yeah, you and about 1,500 people are trying to call at the same time,
I
but
know,
you made it
I know.
through.
I'm very
You made
lucky,
it.
and it's very important considering the journey I've been enduring. I basically, for the past 2.5 years, have just been absolutely abused by some type of energy or multiple different energies. Absolutely tormented with, voices and panic attacks and depression and just, these labels of panic attacks and depression don't even do it justice. I guess it started, I'll just give you a quick background. When I was 6 years old, I had Guillain-Barré, which is an autoimmune disorder. And now that I'm sort of more in touch with spirituality, I kind of realized that it was my body's way of attacking some sort of being that had entered me. And then basically 2.5 years ago is when it all kind of manifested emotionally and mentally. And I've just been on a nonstop cleansing, fasting, vipassana. I've gone to the jungle for ayahuasca ceremonies, on 3 separate occasions, and just like nonstop work on all levels, work and cleansing, and it's really, really hard. And I just wanted to know if you had any information on what these beings are, who they are, and what their mechanism of action is, because I can feel them getting into my food. I can feel them living in my chakras.
I understand all of that. So have you ever heard me do the repeat after me section where I empower people with a contract revocation?
Yes, I believe so.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that as a sensing expression so that we can go through the process of what's trying to go into you. And the one that I'm going to be having you do is called the disentanglement winds. Okay?
Disentanglement winds?
Yes. I don't know if you've read that one.
I have not.
All right, so this will be very special. So all those out there that want to do this process, that are finding themselves targeted in any way, shape, or form, this is the one that wipes clean everything. So just repeat after me. I call to the 4 winds.
I call to the 4 limbs.
Anshio and Valdect.
Anshio and Valdec.
Malicio.
Malicio.
And Steve, can you end that break, please? And Kayamari.
And Kayamari.
I call to your specific signature frequency.
I call to your specific signature frequency.
Of separation of densities.
Of separation densities.
I call to Anshio, the highest wind spirit.
I call to Anshio, the highest wind spirit.
Who touches the star ancestors.
Who touches the star ancestors.
Aid me in understanding.
Gave me an understanding.
The quantum disentanglement.
The quantum disentanglement.
From 3D matrix and strategies.
From 3D matrix and strategies.
Wipe clean the energy chessboard.
Wipe clean the energy chessboard.
Of all those in high places of hierarchical order.
Of all those in high places of hierarchical order.
Let them feel your endless winds.
Let them fill your endless limbs.
Pulling at their sinews.
Pulling at their sims.
Of forced conscious interaction with me.
Of forced conscious interaction with me.
I demand.
I demand.
Zero karmic balance.
Zero karmic balance.
Between all interceptors.
Between all interceptors.
Co-creators.
Co-creators.
Or any other form of frequency mimicking sentience.
or any other form of frequency mimicking sentience.
I call the Valdect, the wind spirit of all astral realms,
I call the Valdec, the wind spirit of all astral realms,
to come forth and bear witness to my conscious disentanglement
to come forth and bear witness to my consciousness entanglement
from all karmic affairs.
from all karmic affairs.
I break all contracts, vows, and agreements
I break off all contracts and agreements
with all ancestors playing energy chess game
with all ancestors playing energy chess game
in the astral realm.
in the astral realm.
All astral beings operating
All astral beings operating
in 1, 2, or 3 degrees of separation of me
in 1, 2, or 3 degrees of separation with me
are hereby given universal spiritual court of equity notice.
are hereby given universal spiritual court of equity notice.
The dragon triads and the beekeeper clans now operate in sacred neutral affairs.
The dragon and the beekeeper affairs now operate in sacred neutral affairs.
All actions are now brought to zero action.
All actions are now brought to zero action.
Any action that causes reentanglement
Any action that causes reentanglement
will be dealt with all ancestors,
will be dealt with all ancestors,
and the dragon triads shall be my protector,
and the dragon triad shall be my protector,
with the beekeeper clans in unity.
with the beekeeper clans in unity.
I call them Malicio, the winds of surface earth.
I call Malicio the wings of surface earth.
I call to your specific signature frequency to aid me.
I call for your specific signature frequency to aid me
In complete and total disentanglement from all networks,
in complete and total disentanglement from all networks,
councils, courts, and anything else that required my I am presence.
councils, courts, and anything else that requires my I am presence.
I call my ancestor spirits of all earth
I call my ancestor spirits of all earth
to summon the healing clans
to summon the healing clans
of all universal expressions,
of all universal expressions,
to aid our perceptions,
to aid our perceptions,
so we are no longer deceived.
so we are no longer deceived.
I call to Kayamari,
I call to Kayamari,
the winds of inner earth.
the winds of inner earth.
I call to you, who co-creates all life within inner earth.
I call to you, who co-creates all life within inner earth.
I ask that you share my sacred prayer words
I ask that you share my sacred prayer word
with all ancestors residing in your protective core.
with all ancestors residing in your core.
I say unto you, all ancestors of inner earth,
I say unto you, all ancestors of inner earth,
I break all contracts, vows, and agreements
I break off all contracts and agreements
in all fraud time perceptions.
in all fraud time perceptions.
I bring back to zero balance
I bring back to zero balance
all other realms of inner co-creation or exchange.
all other realms of inner co-creation or exchange.
I call to Earth Mother
I call to Earth Mother
to audit my true time,
to audit my true chime,
so I may be in union and union
so I may be in union for union,
and communion with true Earth time.
in communion with true Earth time.
All ancestors in extinction with inner Earth,
All ancestors with extinction in inner earth,
I open my DNA memory connections
I open my DNA memory connections
with you
with you
as a completely disentangled being
as a completely disentangled being
of manifest light
of manifest light
on surface Earth
on surface earth
in fraud time,
in fraud time,
declaring
declaring
I am in union and communion with true Earth time.
I am in union communion with true earth time.
I honor your ancestors
I honor your ancestors
by declaring my sovereign disentangled boundaries.
by declaring my sovereign disentangled boundaries.
And so it begins.
And so it begins.
You are a classic expression of the being that's being trying to lured to the dark and energies. You are a super powerful being, and you must know this in the core of your heart. It is time for you to get serious in your personal self-defense. It's time for you to create a fortress of the self, a fortress of solitude. It is your destiny to do this if you should choose to pick up the power of the self.
Okay.
Did you feel anything when you were speaking those words?
Yeah, I got super dizzy.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
I mean, my heart was racing. I got super dizzy, and it felt like at one point in time, about a year ago, I actually, it's been happening quite often where I like faint and I convulse, and I'm just releasing this like demonic energy, and it felt like it was about to happen, but for some reason it didn't.
That's because we just demon slayed about 40 demons around you with all the other audience members that were a part of it. Now you have to take into your seriousness of your own heart, what does it take for you to create a fortress of solitude? It only has your inner voices, no external voices.
Okay, and this is something that I need to figure out on my own, I imagine?
Well, you've already done the ayahuasca ceremonies. You've already done the journeys. Yeah, it's the inner work of letting go whatever pain is ailing you at this time. I'm going to say it comes from your childhood. What do you remember?
What's that?
What do you remember about your childhood?
I know that I had very, very difficult, experiences, very traumatic experiences. I have a feeling that something entered me at a very, very young age before I can even remember. Yep. And it's very connected to my thoughts and to my mind. And it's, it's only been recently that I've been able to see that it's actually not me, that it's a separate entity. And yeah, so a lot of trauma, but I've worked through so much already, to the point where I don't have like deep-seated anything going on with my childhood. It's all right now like energetically, this energetic attacks,
And this is where you're caught. The old reason that the energetic attacks exist because there's a signature frequency in your childhood that's still creating a portal so it can affect your future life.
Okay.
This is a classic example of a raging inner child giving access to negative energies to alter a future being. When you hear something in all time streams, dimensions, galaxies, and universes, that is because you are broadcasting who you are in all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universes, and extra-dimensional entities have chosen to use you as a focal point of trauma energies so that they could over-manifest you and ultimately vicariously live through your depression, regression, or obsessions.
Okay.
Claim your sovereignty. Do self-ceremonies of purging. Do the colonics. That's the first, most basic thing. And the second thing is, what does it take for you to protect your four corners of your bedroom, the four corners of your bed, and then to grid your room with sacred protective objects that you've created, with the knowledge that there is another raging inner child in you who wants to open portals when you're asleep. You have to tell that child, no. Claim your life. You are the being of the now. No one else is. And that's why they're trying to steal your time.
Okay. I have one. What's that?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I have one question. I've been in a constant debate of whether or not I'm supposed to share or work, or write or make videos, or because I feel like I can help people, but at the same time, I feel like I'm supposed to heal before helping people.
Absolutely. So you have to heal before you can help others.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean you won't help others on your healing path.
Okay.
You just have to see it at a much smaller scale, because that's the obsession side of, I have to do it for everyone now.
Right.
And that's what's taking away your power from acting in the now and healing yourself.
Okay. And this sorry to take up so much time.
It's okay.
This is
It's
really
okay.
powerful
I
for me.
want to bring Kathy in here for a second to
Okay.
read some medical concepts about what's going on in your energy field.
Okay.
Well, first of all, that was a really powerful, wow. When you were repeating after Andrew, your energy was just going whoosh, 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 whoosh. I would imagine the next few days you might feel a bit, like you're walking in a blur. And that's okay. That's okay. It's just things are moving around. Things that are just have no consequence or use for you anymore will be discarded. You'll be shaking it off. New stuff will be evolving. So should you feel a bit even headachy or dizzy, like sick dizzy, don't worry about it. It will pass after a few days. I also agree with Andrew that you really need to start thinking about yourself more first. Because you're such a giving person and such a natural healer in so many ways. Your first point of stop is always other people rather than yourself. But I think that you really need to start thinking about making yourself more whole, regaining who you are, all the pieces of your body, your soul that have been out there. Get back, get grounded, enjoy being whole. All parts of you enjoy being whole before you even consider other people. Think of it more that you need to be in a selfish time right now. And for you, being selfish is still, for the rest of us, extremely generous to others. But you have to think more selfishly. And once you can do that, you will start to understand that there have been so many parts of you that have been missing that it's no wonder you've been feeling out of sorts and so vulnerable to other things. One of the things that I see very strongly about you is your lack of focus, and some of that to me looks like it's coming from diet. Whatever
Like a what?
Sorry?
What was the word you used? I didn't catch the word you used.
Diet.
No, but I'm like a what?
Like a what? What did I say?
Or lack of? I'm not sure. I'm sorry, I just didn't catch it.
It was lack of.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. It's probably my accent. I'm sorry. But it's a lot of it. So your lack of focus and your energy is probably what I was talking about. Is diet. You really need to think about what you've been eating and what is good for you. Because to me, it's the sort of food that you need to be taking in to keep your energy levels high, to keep you clear-minded. There needs to be some adjustment of whatever it is that your normal diet is. And I know it sounds a very small thing and a very basic thing, but if you look at what you've been lacking or what you need to cut out, and it could be basic things. I mean, and I'll just make this up. Like, for example, if you were to take out gluten or sugar, but you add more protein, whether it's, just nuts or some meat, whatever it is for you, you need to make some change. Because once you do make some dietary change on a physical energy level, you will feel much more grounded and within yourself. And from there, you will start to, like the fog that you've been living in will start to clear. And then you can start to deal with more spiritual and energetic things. And it's always a very hard and strange thing to go back to the core basics first. But sometimes you need to start over, go back to the basics, so then that you can be enabled to do the more interesting and dramatic stuff.
Okay. Thank you so much.
It's not going to be an easy thing to do. You'll just have to really, trial and error and be brutal about changing stuff. I've been
pretty disciplined for the past few years. It's been pretty intense. But, there's always room for improvement.
Well, not so much improvement as change, because possibly what you have, the regime you've been using worked for you before, but your body's changed, your body chemistry's changed, and now you're doing a lot more spiritual stuff. You need different things as well. So I don't think it has to be something bizarre. It's just a question of understanding your body now and just making a few modifications. But once you make those changes, you'll see the difference in yourself, your energy level, and the groundedness. And you'll just think, oh my goodness. And all this time, I just have been ignoring that. In the end, it'll be something basic. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
So I have something else for you.
Uh-huh.
So it's important that you start sun gazing.
Okay.
Have you ever done sun gazing before?
No, I have not.
Okay. The process of it is you look at the sun and get as much sunlight in your eyes as possible. I'm willing to go to say that you've had so much traumatic energy that you probably, with open eyes, won't be able to gaze at the sun for more than a few seconds. And that's okay. So what I want you to do is start with your eyes closed. So you're looking through the lids of your eyes direct at the sun. And the lids of your eyes are going to act as a spiritual membrane, and that are going to start nourishing your eyes, and it's going to start reconnecting to your third eye, and it's going to start healing your third eye tremendously. So this technique is specific for you, but anyone else that's out there that is feel that they are targeted, beginning to sun gaze with your eyes closed, looking through your eyelids so you can align directly to the sun with your eyes closed. And then as you feel your eyes kind of cross over and connect, and then little drops of sunlight energy are going to be going into your third eye. And I want you to imagine that every drop of that sunlight that goes through the membranes of your eyelids to your eyes to your third eye is nourishing and nurturing the entire holographic reality that's you in all dimensions, time stream, galaxies, and universes. This will go a long way at seeping light into some of those dark places that haven't been illuminated in a long time.
Okay, and this is the first hour and the last hour, right?
No, any time of day that you can do it.
Okay.
Get as much sun on your eyes as possible.
Okay.
Okay, and then when you can start doing it with your eyes open, be careful you don't overblind yourself. You can go and read all about sun gazing and its specific concepts that are out there on a more public scale, the way people do it. The way I'm teaching you is it's specific so that other realms of yourself start to get pinpoints of light in it. The third eye is a portal creator, and when you use it for the specific signature frequency of creating light in all of your dimensional realms, no dark beings can create darkness inside you anymore, because it is your control over how much light you bring into all dimensions of who you exist as.
Okay.
All right, we're going to move.
Okay,
go ahead with your last question.
My last question is, am I supposed to be looking at this as far as, am I fighting these energies, or do I have to give unconditional love to these energies? This is what I've been battling.
Okay, it actually is giving them no space to battle at all through the act of self-love.
Okay.
When you are in love with yourself enough to give yourself these great gifts of light, there is no battle with the darkness. They have no space to even exist in your realm. This is why contract revocation for you is so important. Break contracts, vows, and agreements with all negative versions of yourself, all versions of yourself that are remote viewing and remote influencing you for the change that they want, and not you as the I Am Presence. It's all about you, the I Am Presence of now, not any other version of yourself.
Okay.
You may need to get a little indignant in some of these ceremonies where you rant. I'm kicking your frequency out of here, and use some swear words.
Okay.
I mean, this is public radio. I can't, say the F word and bombs and all that other stuff, but you may need to do that. You may need to get that selfish to give yourself these gifts.
Okay.
And that's okay, because it is your fortress of solitude you're creating. And inside that fortress of solitude, you will have the rest of the vision of how you're going to begin to heal this world from your own signature frequency teaching, which is vital for this world. Everyone's is. And because you've been targeted so much, yours is that much more dense in a teaching. Because once you've defeated whatever darkness is trying to illuminate you into darkness, you'll be able to teach the world how to not fall for their tricks.
Okay.
They'll write a handbook on telling demons to F off. You have no power.
Okay.
Okay? When you came to this show and you broke through all those collars, it was for a reason. It
Yeah.
was your time. Stand in your power, brother.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You are one of those people out there that needs this. Stand in
Yes.
your power. Get indignant in some of those ceremonies. Kick them the hell out.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to our last caller. Thank you so much, brother.
All right, take care.
I think we might have Jackie back.
I think we lost Jackie from before. So, Steve, if you could bring Jackie back.
They're in the process of connecting. I just informed them they were coming back to the show.
Okay. So, Kathy, that was an intense healing we just did.
Oh, yeah. That revocation was, whoa. Amazing. And, you know, when you were looking at Ryan and his energy, wow, that was just intense. I think that's really going to, you know, it'll be great, but I think the next few days he's going to be woo.
Oh yeah. There's a whole lot of frequencies that are going to be out there, and it'll be about what the programs bring back. And this is where he's got to get a little indignant.
Yeah.
So, Jackie, are you there?
Hello.
Hello. How you doing? We didn't get to finish your session before. We had some technical issues.
Yeah, no worries. I'm good, thank you. Been enjoying the show. Really good.
So, what did you think of what you just heard with the young man?
Mind blowing in the sense that you once you start declaring how strong you are and clearing out your own entities, shall we say, you really do get your own inner power. And I just see it as a case of we all need to learn to tune into that as beings.
Yes. So, what kind of questions did you want to ask today? We got about 6 minutes left.
I was kind of just tuning in from what we were speaking about earlier, and you know the whole show's been amazing. You know, I sort of always go with the whole Earth, tuning into the Earth. I really feel a lot of empathy for the planet and all of us as beings. And I guess my last question, I guess, to you earlier was about myself as a being. We spoke about me tuning more into being more of a healer. At the moment, I work in a fairly, let's say, a normal 9-to-5 sort of a role, and I guess more about just my soul, my soul in previous, whether you want to go into a previous life or previous lives or soul in general.
One of the patterns that you have constantly repeating over you. Let me edit this for radio. Hold on a second. One of the repeating patterns that you have going on in your life is reaching a plateau and then having other people come in and steal your work. The reason I edit it is because the specifics of that life don't really matter and don't need to be saying on public air. So betrayal energy. And that's something that you've had to deal with since coming in at birth. And there's almost this fear of betrayal energy that's coming around you. Figuring out how subtle it is and how ingrained it is into you will go a long way at opening up much bigger realms of communication for you. It is something that is literally limiting your frequency from hearing some of the higher angelic beings that are going through. Now, the specific lifetime where you reached a high pinnacle of success was in the 1818 era. And you were living in London at that time. You discovered a fabulous new plant that was growing in the islands of Borneo. And you'd figured out how to replant it on the island of Madagascar as well as some South African plantation areas. And this plant would make a specific type of really nice alcohol that stayed very well, that was very young, very brewed, and was going to make you a lot of money. And your business was stolen by the local nobles of that area, and then you were put into poverty and slavery and ended up here in America as a debtor slave. This is something that is a common repeating pattern in you. But the other side of it, as a debtor slave, knowing that you had everything taken away from you, you escaped and went deep into Native American country, past the Appalachians, deep into the Blackfoot tribe. And there you went native. You were no longer a European expression. You became a Blackfoot soul tracker. That's the best way I can describe it. You would go into deep ceremonies and you would search for soul shards and bring them back, or show another being who was sick and ill how to recover a soul shard just before they would go through their natural death. And you gave many death rites over all sorts of different beings. And at the end of that life, when you had your death rites performed with you and you had your own soul tracker go back in history and find why the medicine had come to you, the medicine of that specific plant, is where you understood that the next set of lifetimes that you were going to do, that you were going to incorporate the teachings of plant and animal medicines so that you could stay in the teaching aspect and not necessarily in the monetary aspect. But there was a deeper understanding that the actual plant medicine itself wants to pay you back for doing what it is that you did in that lifetime. And now this lifetime is where you get to earn where you get those gifts of the plant medicine, which is going to come back in a monetary fund for you if you should choose to begin to be a teacher and a healer in a more public format.
Would you have any specific, when you say plant medicine, anything particular to follow or look for now in this lifetime?
You have a clear slate to use the energy as you wish. It is that form of positive karma. It is designed as a 100% free will gift.
Okay, I'll have to tune into that one. That's amazing. Thank you.
This is what I was telling you earlier about a lot of money in your energy frequency. They're literally, you've got a golden pathway paved if you can cross the boundary of faith and understand you are more than you've heard, read, or studied. You are more than everything you've done in the past because you are the present being. And by acting in the now, becoming the healer out of your own sovereign self-choice with what knowledge and wisdom you have in the moment of now, you'll be able to help change other people who will also be able to enter into karmic zero balance, which is the greatest gift you can give to Earth as herself as a being, teaching people how to be in zero karma. So her surface is free by rules that she didn't create.
Okay, thanks. And with Santo and I, you see that as potentially a joint thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Your journey is going to be long and full of great celebrations.
Awesome, Andrew. Thank you very much. Santo's giggling in the background.
So, Kathy, is there anything that you want to add?
I would say I'm just going to keep it basic. The future is bright. I don't think there's anything that you really need to look out for. I think Andrew's covered it all, and really just have confidence in that the future is bright.
Thank you so much. That's really good. Much appreciate the show. Love you
You're
guys.
welcome. So I want to remind everyone that I'm going to be doing a webinar on the 3rd of January with Douglas Dietrich, Peter Moon, and Laura Lee Sullivan, and it's going to be about time travel itself and all the different cool concepts that are about it. You can go to galacticnewsnetwork.com to opt in to getting emails about that webinar. I want to thank you, everyone, very much for everyone that called in and for everyone that participated, past, present, and future. We are the Unity and Community.